We will wait for a few minutes.
Okay, sir.
Can you hear me properly? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You are
Yes,
audible.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. You are audible clearly.
Okay. So in last lecture, we discussed about the testing of hypothesis, especially parametric test. We have seen one sample t-test, independent sample t-test, and pair t-test, and how to perform this all the tests based on the or with the help of the R language. We have taken the three different case studies, and then we analyze the data through R language. Now we will talk about the non-parametric test. So as I told you that parametric tests can be useful when the distribution of a test statistics is known to you. If it is unknown, then we have to apply the concept of a non-parametric test. So there are certain assumptions of a parametric test, as we discussed that data must be randomly distributed. It has the specific normally distribution. Then we say that the variance is unknown, and variance is unknown, and they are the same across the various group. That means it is a homogeneous. So if these are the assumptions are hold true, then we can apply the concept of a t-test, either pair, either one sample and independent two sample t-test as per their objective. But if any one of the assumption is violated, then we cannot perform the parametric test, and one has to go for the non-parametric test. So in parametric test, we will see the alternative test for the parametric for the one sample, independent and pair t-test. But suppose I have the data which are of a categorical in nature, and if I wish to test the proportion, let us say that if the new movie is broadcasted and you ask the review about the movie to the audience, so they may say that 50-50. So that means the 50% like the movie and 50% does not like. Suppose you have applied a certain treatment, and especially the certain fertilizer is given to the particularly seed, then how many seeds are generated or germinated, or can you say that whether the seed is germinated or not? So if you have, let us say you have applied the 10 trials, and out of 10 trials, if the 6 seeds are germinated and 4 are not, so that means you get that the success rate is a 60%. So that means the proportion is a 0.6. So whenever we have a such kind of a scenario and we wish to test such kind of hypothesis, then we have to go for the non-parametric test, and it is known as a binomial test. So why it is a binomial test? Because you have only two response, whether the success or whether the failure. So when you apply any trial or when you do any experiment, you have the only possible two result, either success or failure. At that time, we apply whatever the uh, outcomes we have, they are the binary in nature. And when we have a binary outcomes are with us, there it has the distribution is a Bernoulli. And suppose if the trials are more than one, and the probability of the success according to the each trial remain the constant, then the Bernoulli trial is converted into the binomial trial. So whenever I am interested to test the hypothesis about the proportion, then we can
Sarvesh,
apply.
just a minute.
हाँ
All
बोलो
the
बोलो.
students are informed that turn on your camera, otherwise you will be removed from the meeting. All the students are informed that turn on your camera, otherwise you will be removed from the meeting. Please turn on camera during the session. Okay?
Okay, shall I start?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I was talking about the why you require the concept of a binomial test when your response is a Bernoulli, and whenever you wish to test, let us say P is equal to P is the proportion, and that the hypothetical proportion is, let us say, P is equal to 0.5, P is equal to 0.75. It is up to the user or up to the experimental scientist. They have the certain hypothesis in their mind, and they wish to test the hypothesis. The H naught P is equal to, let us say, half. Then the response is a binary, whether it is a success or failure. And if we wish to perform this test of hypothesis, or if we wish to see whether the null hypothesis is accepted or rejected, we have to apply the non-parametric test, and it is known as a binomial test. So we will directly jump into the R, how to obtain the results of the binomial test and how to take the decision. So this is a small example. Under the assumption of the simple Mendelian inheritance, a cross between plant of two particular genotypes produce progeny 1/4 which are dwarf and 3/4 which are giant. So that means here the Mendelian experiment is taken place, and it has the possible output. One has the probability of, let us say, if you say that dwarf is a probability of the failure, then it is a 1/4. And if you say that giant is the probability of success, then it is a P is equal to 3/4. So here you have a two outcomes, whether the genotype produced is either dwarf or giant. So only two outcomes. Okay. So in an experiment to determine if this assumption is reasonable, a cross results in a progeny having 243 dwarf and 682 giant plants. So total plants are given. Out of total plants or the total experiments or the total plants, you can say that 682 are the giant and the 243 are the dwarf. Now, what is here considered to be a success? Here we consider that if the plant is of a giant, then it is a success for us, otherwise it is a failure. So here it is, we assume that the probability of success is a 3/4. But before doing experiment, it is in our mind that the probability of the success will be this. So now we wish to test this hypothesis whether the proportion of the giant plant is a 3/4 or not. 3/4, you can say it is a 0.75. So versus it is not. So now which test is applicable? Because you have only two outcomes and the number of trials are more than once. So that means we have to apply the binomial distribution, and to test this proportion P is equal to 3/4, we have to apply the test name is a binomial test. And in a R language, the beauty of R language is that whatever the command you are using, it is more or less similar to the nature of the or the form of the or the name of the test. So here the test is a binomial test. The command name is a binom.test, and just supply. You have a how many giant plants? So it is a 682, and how many are the dwarf? So you have a 243, and then P is equal to 3/4. Just you verify it, you will get the result. So I have already shared you the file of a non-parametric. Yesterday I have shared the folders in which there is a file non-parametric test. So I have just copied the codes and just pasted into that. So that code is available to you. Just press enter, control enter. It will give me the output. What it's saying that the number of successes is total is 682. Number of failures are 243. And how many total trials are that? This is the sum of that. Means you have a total trials are the 925. So you have conducted the 925 experiment, or you have a out of 925 you can get the 682 are the giant plant and the 243 are of a dwarf plant. And you can see the p value is a 0.38. So what is meaning of 0.38 p value? Yesterday we discussed. Anyone?
Say accept the null hypothesis.
Why we have to accept the null hypothesis? What is the reason? What was the criteria? These are all said to be decision rule.
P is less than 0.05.
So P value is less than 0.05, then we reject the H naught. Here the P value is greater than 0.05, hence we will accept the null hypothesis. So Suppose if I will ask you the question that explain the one sample t-test, then what happen? You have to give the basic assumption of the one sample t-test. Then what is the formula? So that the formula you have to supply, and then you have to have a test statistics value, and then you have a decision rule. So in our setup, the decision rule we are taking based on the p-value. So if the p-value is less than or equal to 0.05, we reject at naught. Otherwise, we accept at naught. Okay. So what is the alternative? The alternative hypothesis is that it is not 0.75. But here our null hypothesis is accepted. It means that the probability of the success is a 0.75. That means the giant plant having the proportion 0.75. And it is also giving the 95% confidence interval. So what is the confidence, 95% confidence interval that the giant plant is lies between 0.7 to 0.76. And what is the probability of the success from the database? So database, the success is we obtain it is a 0.73. So 682 divided by 925, it is giving the 0.73. 0.737 is less than 0.75, but it is statistically 0.75 based on the binomial test. So we say that the proportion of the giant plant is a 0.75, and that is statistically accepted with 95% confidence. Is that okay? Now the scenario is that let us, if I have a two population.
Yes, sir.
Suppose I have a two population, and among the two population, I wish to see the proportion. Then the binomial test is convert into the chi-square test. But this chi-square test is, we apply the test statistics is a chi-square statistics, but it is known as a test of proportion. So we will see this example. Suppose the null hypothesis is that the four population from which the patient were drawn have the same true proportion of a smoker. For example, if the patient is admitted in the four different hospitals, and now we wish to identify that what is the proportion of the patients having the habit of the smoking. Now, my basic concept is the proportion of the smoker across the hospital remain the same. That means P1 is the proportion of the smoker in the first hospital or region, whatever you said. P2 is the second, P3 is the third hospital, and P4 is the fourth hospital. And I am saying that null hypothesis that the P1 equal to P2 equal to P3 equal to P4. It means the proportion of the smoker remains same across the hospitals. Alternative is that they may not same. So when you say that they all are not equal, when you say that at least one pair is significantly differ. If one of the gentlemen is different than the others, then you can say that they are not equally likely. So that is how it is written, that alternative is that the proportion is different in at least one of the population. So there are four populations we have taken. Let us say the hospitals. So in the first hospital, total 86 patients are there, out of 83 having the smoking habit. In the second, 93, out of 93, 90 have. So now my basic concept is that whether this proportion of the smoker remain the same across the group or not, across the population or not. So the which test I am applying? I am applying the test of proportion, and that is how the test, the name of the test is a propose.test. Now here, which is your interested study group? So your study group is a smoker, and from where? So this is the group of the patient. So smoker should be given as the first, and the patient will be given as the second. So that means the outcome should be give the first, and the population should be given in the second variable, second argument. So just, and you can manually enter this is the smokers equal to C, then you just supply the information 83 comma likewise you can enter it, and then similarly patient. And which test we have to apply? The proportion dot test. So it has given the result. I told you that it is basically using the chi-square test, because when you have the more than two trials, then that trials become the multinomial, and when it is a multinomial trial, then it has the multinomial distribution, and it has a chi-square. Okay, so 4 sample test of equality of proportion without the continuity correction. The test name is that. What is the data? So data is a smokers out of the patient, because you have given the smokers here. So it has written the smokers out of what? The total number of patients. And look at the p-value. What is the p-value?
It's
It is
0.00.
So what we take the decision?
Null hypothesis is rejected.
Null hypothesis.
Null hypothesis is
Very good. Null hypothesis is rejected.
There is a significant difference.
Okay, so that means the proportion of the smokers in a different patient group is different. Okay, and which test is applied? Chi-square test. I may ask you in the examination, if I wish to perform the test of proportion, which test is possible? So you have to give the name chi-square. Okay, so this should be known to you. Okay, so proportion of the first group, second group, third group, and fourth group. So that is the called the sample proportion of the first group of the patient who has the smoking habit. This is the second group of the patient who has the smoking habit, and by looking at it, you can say that which has the least. So proportion 4. That means the fourth patient group having the lesser smoking habit compared to the other group. Is that clear? Now, if I am, instead of the smoking, if I am saying that if I am applying the 4 different drugs, and each drug I have given to the 100 patients, out of 100 patients, how many patients are recovered? Outcome is only 2, whether the patient is recovered or not. Did you get my point? Outcome is only 2, whether the patient is recovered or not. How many different types of the drugs? You have 4 drugs you have applied. First drug you have to given to 100 patients, second drug you have to given to 100, third drug to the third patient group, and fourth to the fourth patient group. Now, out of that, how many patient is cured in the first group, second group, third group, and fourth group? Because I have developed the drugs, what I will start with the assumption that all the treatments are equally effective, all the drugs having the equal effective for the curing the patient. See, when your outcome is binary, then the test is binomial. But if your outcome is that, let us say I'm developing the 4 different drugs to control the platelets count, then the count is a categorical? No, it is a discrete event. So then you have to apply either the Poisson regression models, or you can apply the analysis of variance to see that the average platelets count remain the same across the 4 treatment. So your entire test statistics procedure is changing with reference to the nature of variable. That is how I have focused more on the nature of variable. You should understand what is the nature of variable, because once you are clear with the nature of variable, it will help you to allow to take the decision what should be your descriptive statistics and what should be inferential statistics. And if you remember, when I have taken the lecture of a collection and organization of a data, in which I have given you one table. When your data is nominal, what are the common example, what are the descriptive statistics, and what are the inferential. So in nominal, I have written you can either use the binomial test or chi-square test. If you go back to your materials, you will realize that whatever I said, you will get that over. So all the lectures are connected. And the thing is that you should understand the nature of variable. Whenever some objective is in your hand, try to understand what should be the nature of variable. Nature of variable means in what way you are collecting the data, whether it is yes, no, whether it is in the 5-point scaling, whether it is in the ratio scaling, whether it is a ordinal scaling, what way you are collecting, because outcome will suggest you the nature of variable. Okay, so this is all about the test of proportion. Now suppose we have the assumption is violated in a one sample t-test, where we said that the average potency of the drug is a 5.01 mg, and then we said that that average potency should have the independent or these whatever the data is are there, they are the independent in nature, they have the normal distribution with them or not. So if that assumption is hold true, we can apply the one sample t-test to test be mu equal to mu 0, where mu is nothing but the population mean and mu 0 is the assumed mean. But if any one of the assumption is violated, let us say data is not random, let us the data is not normally distributed, then we cannot perform the parametric test. As I told you that if in the foundation, if you make the mistake, you cannot talk about the reliability of the building. So in a same fashion, if any of the assumption is violated, we have to go for the
Non-parametric.
non-parametric test. Very good. So non-parametric test is performed when we do not have the information about the distribution of the data, or we do not have the whether data is random or not. Or if you have the violate any assumption of parametric test, we can go for the non-parametric. So let me have one example. This B is extra. So measurement of the body mass index, let us say BMI. For a sample of 10 healthy adults, male are shown in the following table. So I have this information. These are the 10 healthy gentlemen are there, and their information are measured in terms of a BMI. Now my basic idea is that whether the average BMI is 35 or not. Okay, I wish to see that whether the average BMI is a 35, that is the null hypothesis, versus it is not 35 at 5% level of significance. I told you here the average. What do you mean by the average? What do you mean by average?
Sum of all observation divided by a total number of observation.
That is how I have raised this question. Very good, Ashish Bhatt. Average is usual in our mind that average is nothing but the arithmetic mean, where we just simply sum the data and then divide by the observation. But I told you that measure of central tendency are three. One is a mean, second one is a median, and third one is a mode. Okay, mean, median, and mode. So whenever your data is of a kind of a ranking in nature, okay, when there are extreme values present in your data, the mean is not suitable. One has to go for the median. Even suppose I told you that one of the shoe manufacturing company want to produce the shoes. So what they have done, they have collected the data from the youngster, and they have asked their shoe size. So somebody said it is of a 5 number, 6 number, 7 number, 8 number, 9. Okay, now which shoe are you going to produce? Suppose a Bata company has hired you, or any shoe manufacturing company hired you as a researcher, that which companies or the which number of the shoes I have to produce. So how will you decide? Yes, Ashish, how will you decide? Simple. We will collect the information.
Quality testing.
No. Quality testing is a later on. Now the thing is that which number of the shoes I should produce. So what I do, I will go to the market, or I will go to the youngster and ask their shoe size. They will give all the information, and as per your suggestion, because I have to find out what is the average size of the shoes, I will just make the sum and then divide, and then average value is a 5.75. So which shoes I should produce? Whether 5.75, 6, 5, which one?
Which number is coming repeatedly?
We cannot produce the 5.75 because it doesn't fit to either 6 number or 5 number. So we have to see that the which numbers is more often repeated in the data. So that is called the mode. So that is why I told you that in statistics, if you identify the right statistical technique, then your 50% job is done. And how will you identify the right statistical technique? That right statistical technique. Hello, Hardik bhai, તમારું mic બંધ કરજો. Thank you. Okay. So you have to see the nature of your objective, and based on that you have to take the decision which statistical technique should be suitable. Once that part is clear, your 50% job done. Most of the times we are taking the wrong decision for the selection of the appropriate test or appropriate statistical methods. Appropriate statistical methods should be selected based on the nature of variables. So you should, whenever you have the data, try to identify the nature of variables and try to see that if it is of a categorical data, which technique should be suitable. If it is of a quantitative data, which technique should be suitable. You ask yourself, because we are the researcher, and we researcher always ask the question, why, when, whom, where, and what. So that 5W always give you the solution. Okay. So in short, whenever you have the data is of a ranking in nature, the mean is not appropriate. Mode is not appropriate. Which one is appropriate? Median. So whenever we talk about the non-parametric test, we always arrange the data in a ascending orders, or somewhere we find out the rank, etc. Okay. So the measure of central tendency for the non-parametric data is always used as a median. Okay. So that is how I have written the sample median. So here the population median I have taken, it is a m equal to 35. So now I just supply the BMI value. How to enter? BMI equal to C, bracket 21, 23 up to you enter, bracket over. And then which test is applied? I wish to apply the test is a Wilcoxon sign rank test. Okay, so the test name is wilcox.test, the command name is. So I'll just, because that file is already provided to you, so that's no issue. Here what happened, what I did, what is the null hypothesis? H naught m equal to 35. So I have just variable BMI, I am just minusing that cutoff point, and y is equal to null. Similar to the t.test command, wilcox.test command work for the single sample, double sample, and paired sample. So the command remains the same, just you have to supply the different argument. Because it is for a single sample, so I have given the second argument as a null. So Wilcoxon sign rank test, the BMI minus 35, the test statistics is given, and the p-value is 0.7, 0.1723. What it means?
Accept the null hypothesis.
Accept the null.
Acceptance
But
or
here-
null hypothesis.
Alternative is written, true location is not equal to 0. Why the 0 when I have asked for the 35? When null hypothesis में तो रखा था median equal to 35, m equal to, तो alternative तो m not equal to 35 होना चाहिए, यहाँ पे 0 क्यों आया? Any answer, anyone?
Sir, is it default?
Is it default? No. So there is some logic. Why 0? See, you all are researcher. Immediately something is happened, you should come out with the answer. Why it is 0? Because null hypothesis was 35, and I have just subtracted this 35 from the variable. So that means I have converted them to the 0. If I am subtracting 35 from 35, then it is 0, na? So null hypothesis, I have taken the 35 and I have subtracted 35. Here you can see that, and that is how 35 minus 35 alternative is 0. So that is how it is written. The true location is not 0. So here you can say that the average BMI is equal to 35. अब ये स्टडी करने से क्या फायदा है? मुझे BMI क्यों स्टडी करना है? Why should I do BMI स्टडी? न्यूट्रिशन में से जो है वो बताइए, BMI क्यों स्टडी करना है? और जो मैंने डिस्कशन किया वो यहाँ लिखा हुआ है, एंड दैट फाइल आई हैव ऑलरेडी शेयर टू यू. बताइए. कैमरा ओपन करवाया तो मैं अभी सबको देख सकता हूँ, नाम भी पूछ सकता हूँ. अच्छा है. कौन है आप में से न्यूट्रिशन में से?
सर मैं फूड्स एंड न्यूट्रिशन में से नहीं हूँ, होम साइंस में थी, इसलिए कल मैंने रिप्लाई दिया था. मैं क्लोथिंग एंड टेक्सटाइल डिपार्टमेंट में से हूँ.
ओके, ठीक है. मेडिकल साइंस में से कौन है? देवनाथ है ना मेडिकल साइंस से?
यस
हाँ,
सर.
तो BMI स्टडी हम क्यों करते हैं?
बॉडी मास देखने के लिए प्रॉपरली है कि नहीं, हाइट और वेट के तो हम
हाँ,
लोग प्रॉपर करके
तो
देखते
ओके, सपोज कम हुआ तो क्या करते हैं?
हैं. सप्लीमेंट्री देंगे कुछ
Okay,
विटामिन
तो
वगैरह.
तो व्हाई दिस ऑल द स्टडीज आर इम्पोर्टेंट कि अगर BMI बच्चे का, लेटेस्ट से ये BMI हम एडल्ट जो भी कॉलेज में पढ़ रहे हैं बच्चे, उनका हम अब ऑब्जेक्ट स्टडी कर रहे हैं, और हमने कहा कि हेल्दी एडल्ट का BMI इतना होना चाहिए. एंड इफ वी हैव कलेक्टेड द डेटा ऑन द BMI एंड देन वी आइडेंटिफाई दैट एवरेज BMI is not, let us say, 35, then the question arises that if it is not 35, then it is more or less. And suppose it is a less. See, I told you that we are not interested in the null hypothesis, because null hypothesis reject ho usme hi hame interested. We always interested in the alternative hypothesis. So here
सर,
the
सर आपने ये जीरो क्यों किया था, मतलब -35 करके जीरो जो किया था लोकेशंस, वो
नहीं,
इम्पोर्टेंट है.
वन सैंपल टी, जैसे टी टेस्ट में हमारे पास था ना, उसका इसमें क्या है, हर एक सॉफ्टवेयर का अपना एक प्रोग्राम होता है, तो इसलिए आर में आपको वो 35 माइनस करना पड़ता है. टी डॉट टेस्ट में हमने क्या किया था, वो 35 वहां पे लिखा था, या जो 5.01, दैट ऑप्शन इज नॉट अवेलेबल हियर, एंड दैट इज हाउ आई हैव जस्ट माइनसेस, नथिंग एल्स. ओके, सो if the BMI of the adult is less than the, let us say, the average BMI which is suggested by the healthy adult by the WHO, then the questions arises. ठीक है, एडल्ट का अगर BMI कम है तो उसका मतलब है उसको न्यूट्रिशनल का इश्यू है. तो देन होम साइंस डिपार्टमेंट एंड द अदर डिपार्टमेंट केम इनटू द पिक्चर. तो न्यूट्रिशनल का उनको प्रॉब्लम है, तो उसका न्यूट्रिशनल लेवल कैसे बढ़ाया जाए, हाउ टू इंक्रीज दैट न्यूट्रिशनल लेवल. ओके, तो दिस इज अनदर क्वेश्चन अराइजेस. अब न्यूट्रिशनल लेवल कम है तो उसके IQ के ऊपर कोई इंपैक्ट होगी कि नहीं? See, I am a statistician. I can just ask the question. You are the expert in your domain. You can suggest. So, Devnath,
हाँ हो
is
सकता
there
है.
any associate?
हो
So, it
सकता
is saying that the अगर न्यूट्रिशनल लेवल उनका कम है तो उनकी जो मेंटल क्वोशंट है, इंटेलिजेंट क्वोशंट है, उसके ऊपर भी इम्पैक्ट हो सकती है. तो दैट मीन्स कि भाई ओवरऑल इंटेलिजेंट क्वोशंट के ऊपर इफेक्ट हुई तो फ्यूचर जनरेशन ऑफ इंडिया इज इन द ट्रबल. तो हमें 20 साल वाला इंडिया कैसा चाहिए? तो फॉर दैट वी हैव टू प्लानिंग इन एडवांस. सो दिस ऑल काइंड ऑफ द स्टडीज विल सजेस्ट द गवर्नमेंट कि भाई हमें ऐसे कोई कैंपेन करने हैं, प्रोग्राम करने हैं. जैसे स्कूल में अभी आपको पता है तो हर बच्चे का हेल्थ चेकअप होता है. एवरी गवर्नमेंट हैज स्टार्टेड द हेल्थ चेकअप प्रोग्राम फॉर एवरी स्कूल चिल्ड्रन. और जैसे ही आपका टेस्ट करेंगे, कुछ आपको उनको लगेगा कि इसमें गड़बड़ लग रही है तो आपको विटामिन सी की गोलियां दे देंगे, या आपको कोई एक्स्ट्रा पिल्स देंगे कि भैया विटामिन की आपको लेनी है. ठीक है, आपके आंख का नंबर बढ़ गया है तो आपको डॉक्टर्स के पास जाके चश्मा निकलवाना है. क्यों? क्योंकि बच्चे को प्रॉब्लम होता है आगे जाके. तो अगर बच्चे सही है तो ऑफ कोर्स एडल्ट भी सही रहेंगे, क्योंकि वही बच्चे आगे जाके एडल्ट बनेंगे, एंड दैट एडल्ट्स आर द मेन द ड्राइविंग फोर्स फॉर द इंडिया. क्योंकि हमारा देश के लिए लोग देख रहे हैं, उसका रीजन भी वही है कि देयर इज ए मैक्सिमम यंगस्टर youngster population in India. So, but we have to also educate the population in that way so that they can contribute into the nation development or the nation capacity building program. Anyhow, हम थोड़े side track में चले गए, but again come back to the part that why this all the things are there. See, software is giving the output. If sometimes if you feel, oh, it is very simple, it is very simple, but the thing is that what you have to use and what time you have to use, that is very important. And that is how whenever you start your research or before starting your research, you always consult the statistician. If you have the knowledge of the statistics and if you consult the statistician, perhaps your 50% job will minimize. Because most of the times what happens, we know the softwares, we analyze the data, and then we really in confusion which output is important for us. So always I advise that have a consultation with the statistician, and then you can proceed for your further research. But that is how in research pre-PhD program, maximum statistics will be there. Okay. Now, suppose I'm talking about the Wilcoxon signed rank test for a paired sample. So similar to the pair t-test, the Wilcoxon signed rank test for the paired sample is working. Here again, the data is of a before and after, pre-post analysis. But the thing is that it does not satisfy the basic assumption of the pair t-test. And that is how we have to apply the non-parametric test. Then IQ test was, yes, please. Okay, thank you. An IQ test was administered to the 5 medical representatives before and after they were trained. So, जैसे MR है who has got the job as a MR, so they have been given the training. So before the training, their IQ level is measured, and after giving their IQ level is measured. Now they wish to see that whether their IQ level is improved or not. If it is improved, then the training is effective. If it is not, then the training is not effective. So that means the data is collected before and after training, and their IQ score is given to that. So X I told you that before, and Y I told you the after the training IQ level. So what is my null hypothesis? There is no change in IQ level after training. It means that there is no impact of the training on the MR. Versus there is any change in IQ level. That may be a positive change or that may be a negative change. So I have the data, I have just enter into the X, I have to store into variable Y, and the command is, I told you, Wilcox. Here W is a small. So Wilcox.test, and I told you that here we have a 2 variables, so we have to give X and Y. Here we do not require to do the minus. Why? Because the null hypothesis is M1 equal to M2. The M1 is the average IQ level before the training, and M2 is the average IQ level after the training. So if I do the M1 minus M2, it is 0. So that is how there is no need for the subtraction. I have to just supply the 2 variable. And I have written the paired equal to true. Similarly in t-test, if you remember, t.test, I have supplied the value of 2 variable X and Y, and then I have given we have written the formulation A and formulation B. So FA, FB and comma pair equal to true. That means it is performing the pair t-test. So here, similarly, if I give the paired equal to true, it will perform the Wilcoxon sign test for the paired sample. Capital W है इसलिए small आएगा. Okay. So here if the letter also makes the difference, here it is a small, I have written here capital, so that is how. So in your file you have to change it, otherwise it will give the error. Okay, what is the p-value?
0.16.
And that is the hypothesis is
Accepted.
Accepted.
it means that It means
there is
that
there is a no significant difference.
okay, so it means that there is no impact of the training on AMR. Before the training, their IQ level was the average IQ level is the same. That is what the average IQ level after the training. So that means the training is not effective. So अभी वो जो कंपनी है उनको सोचना पड़ेगा कि मुझे अपनी ट्रेनिंग इफेक्टिव बनाना है तो क्या करना पड़ेगा. जैसे जैसे हम डिपार्टमेंट या कॉलेज में पढ़ाते हैं, ठीक है, तो एक मेथड से हम सिखाते हैं. अगर वो मेथड में हमें रिजल्ट नहीं मिलता है तो व्हाट वी डू, वी ट्राई टू चेंज द मेथड्स so that the knowledge of the student should improve in that area where they are doing their education. So if the training is not effective, they have to take the decision whether this training is suitable or not. Similarly, in the online and offline mode comparison, before the online training, what was their IQ level, and after online training, what is their IQ level? If the IQ level is improved significantly, then we say that online training is effective. If IQ level does not improve significantly, and if it is decreasing, that means that students are sleeping while online lecture is going on. So that may all possible, and that is not possible in the physical classroom. You cannot sleep. Teachers will always say, please wake up. Okay, that is how your cameras are open. Okay. So now we will move to the next. Wilcoxon signed rank test for a two sample. So it is an alternative to the independent two sample t-test. I may ask you, which test is alternative to the independent two sample t-test? Okay, so this is the Wilcoxon signed rank test, match pair, something like that. So you should have the idea about that. What is the use of a Wilcoxon signed rank test for the two sample t-test? Two sample. Okay, so here I have 5 tablets of paracetamol and omeprazole were analyzed for the drug content. The following results were obtained. Okay. So here you can have the paracetamol is given to the 5 patient, and this another drug is given to the 5 patient, and their result is obtained. And now I am saying that the location or the means or the medians of the output across this two content is same. So that means both are equally effective versus they are not equally effective. And that is I have taken here X, and that is how I have entered this as a Y. And because both the drugs are different, and that means both the drugs are different, it means they are independent. And when they are independent, then if you wish to compare the location, then we have to apply the independent two sample t-test. But suppose if the assumption are violated, then we have to apply the Wilcoxon paired no, Wilcoxon signed rank test for a two sample because it is for independent. So the which command we have to use? The same command, wilcox.test. We do not require to give the pair, just give the X and Y. It is giving the output. So here, this is the data which for the drug 1, and this is the drug 2, and I apply the Wilcoxon Y. You can see that the null hypothesis is
True.
Accepted.
accepted.
Null hypothesis
That
accepted.
means कि both the drug have a equal effect. Okay, तो you can give any drug. अब जैसे कि आपके पास 2 अलग अलग टाइप की ड्रग है, कौन सी ड्रग देंगे? तो भाई हम ये दे सकते हैं कि नहीं दे सकते. So that is kind of the study you may have. कि suppose 2 group of the patient, you have applied the different drugs, and then you measure the temperature level or something like that, and if you see that the average temperature will remain the same while giving this drug, then you say that you can use either of these drugs. Okay, कोई भी दे सकते हैं. अगर ये नहीं है तो ये alternative में आप चल सकते हैं. So that is the scientifically validated by you. वैसे डॉक्टर को पता ही होता है क्योंकि their experience, they have the statistics in their mind. उनको पता ही है कि ये कर ही सकते हैं, but there is a evidence. So this is the evidence की database evidence and support, and based on that you can claim कि whatever the your experience is saying, it is in the correct direction. Okay. Now I hope आपका analysis of variance हो गया होगा.
Yes.
मुरलीधरन सर ने लिया था, किसने लिया था?
हाँ सर,
ओके
आज भी
तो थोड़ा लेक्चर लिया था.
okay, so it is something like that when you wish to go for the comparison of the several mean. Up to comparison of a two mean, you can use the independent sample t-test. Up to the comparison of a two median, you can use the Wilcoxon two sample. Okay, Wilcoxon sign rank test for the two sample. But suppose you have a more than two populations are there. Suppose I wish to compare the three drugs, then I wish to compare the three fertilizers on the yield of a product. Then I cannot apply the independent two sample t-test. Why? Because it will increase the error rate. And that is how the Fisher has suggested the concept of the analysis of variance for comparing the several means. So whenever you have a more than two populations are there, and when you wish to compare the several means, then we have to apply the ANOVA, analysis of variance. Then it is a one-way ANOVA, then it is a two-way ANOVA, CRD, RBD, and others. Okay. Now, if the basic assumption of the analysis of variance are violated, so there are three different assumptions which we have studied in the independent two sample t-test. That is the carry forward for the ANOVA. Data must be independent within the group. Second, data is normally distributed within the group. Variance across the group is a constant, that is the homogeneous variance assumption. If these three assumptions hold true, we can apply the parametric test, which is known as the analysis of variance. But if any one of the assumption is violated, then we have to apply the concept of non-parametric test, and it is known as a Kruskal-Wallis test, which is also known as a KW test. Is that okay? So
Yes.
Kruskal-Wallis test is an alternative test for the, it is a test, Kruskal-Wallis test. It is an alternative for the ANOVA, and it is for a test of K independent sample. Here, when I am saying that K independent sample means I have a K population, and I am saying that the median across the K populations are homogeneous. That means there is no impact of the drug, there is no impact of the fertilizer, there is no impact of the mode of education when there are more than two categories. Here K must be minimum 3. Okay. So let me understand a small example. Again, Kruskal-Wallis test. The test name is Kruskal-Wallis. The command name is also with the same. It is a Kruskal test. Okay. The starting salary of a new accounting graduates would differ according to geographic region of the United States. Seems logical. ऐसा माना जाता है कि if somebody is working into the, let us say, Ahmedabad, somebody is working into the Mumbai, and somebody is working into the Bangalore. So there are three different states, there are three different cities. So that means their starting wages are also different. ठीक है, ये हम ऐसा मानते हैं कि भाई अहमदाबाद में सैलरी कम रहेगा बेंगलोर के, क्योंकि बेंगलोर का कॉस्ट ऑफ लिविंग ज्यादा है, तो ऑफ कोर्स द स्टार्टिंग सैलरी शुड बी हायर कंपेयर टू अहमदाबाद. तो बट what we assume that let us the average salary across the three different region is same. ये यूनाइटेड स्टेट का डेटा है, and that is how it is the measure in terms of a dollar. And they have taken the three regions, south, northeast, and west region. So what do? You have randomly selected the accounting firms from a three different region and asked them to initial salary of the accounting graduate. So in south it is saying it is a 4.05 multiply by the 10,000. It means it is a 45,000. or 4,000? No, it is a 40,000 $50. It is a 40,000 $41,500 likewise. So this all multiply with the $10,000. Now here I said that use 1% level of significance and discuss the business application of your findings. So now you have to take the decision whether the average salary across the region is same or not at 1% level. So here the null hypothesis that salary of new account graduate is same across the region of United States. तो मैं तो यही कहूंगा कि भाई यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स में कहता है कि इक्वल वर्क इक्वल वेज इरिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ द रीजन, ठीक है, तो वेदर वो सेम है कि नहीं. Now versus salary of new account graduate is significantly differ across the region of United States. So here we have a salary. As I told you that when you apply the any command in the R language, R understand in the database structure. That is called the data frame structure. So here in data frame structure, here the salary is a one variable and the region is another variable. So we cannot enter the data like this into the R language when you doing the analysis of variance or when you doing the Kruskal-Wallis test. You require into the two column. This column is the salary and this column is the region. So that is how the two columns are generated. And that data I have given into the data file of salary. Okay. ठीक है, यहाँ से ले लेते हैं. The database is available into the salary file. Where is the salary? I have not given to you salary file. Oh, I have not provided you. Okay. Okay, we will create a data file quickly. Okay, I will just store it as a salary. You can make the file at home, no issue. Salary, it is a text document. Okay, and the first row is considered to be a variable name. So I'll just remove this part. I told you that because if it is we have seen that if it is in the CSV format, the command name is a read.csv. If it is in a SPSS format, the command name is a read.spss, and if it is in a text format or text format, then the command is a read.table. I wish to select the file, and because the first variable is a header or the first row is header, yes, true, I'll just select it. So I have stored as a salary. Just select it. Okay. So it has shown the data. First variable is first row or the first case started from the second row because I have taken the header equal to true. Now I wish to draw the box plot. So in the t-test we have used the split command. So we can just split the data salary by the data region, and when we make the box plot, what will you say from the box plot? Anyone?
Outlier.
So first thing is that the median of the three box are different. In the northeast, you can see that the median is here, in the west is here, and south is here. So that means the average salary of the new account graduate are different. So that we can reveal from the box plot. Here you can see that there are some outliers present in the data in the north, east, and west. Here you can see that the box size is here, both are the same. Then we say that the variance of south and west is same, but we can't say about the northeast. So we have to verify whether the variance are same or not. Okay, if you don't want to verify this, then you can directly use the non-parametric test. But as I told you that the parametric tests are the more powerful than the non-parametric, so we should always assess this. So we can verify. Let us say box plot. हमने कौन सा टेस्ट किया था? बार्टलेट था ना? Equality of homogeneity of variance. Yes or no?
Yes.
So it is a function of let us verify. So here what happened? The p value is 0.54. So though the variance are significantly differ, यहाँ दिखता है ग्राफ देख के, लेकिन based on the test what we say that they are homogeneous. So the variance in the salaries across the region is same. So there is no issue of using because one assumption is hold true. Then you can check the randomness and you can check the normality and then you can proceed. But here I wish to show you that how to apply the Kruskal-Wallis test. So command name is a Kruskal dot test, and here the variable is a salary. I have not given here the data dollar salary. I have just given the salary and region. Why? Because I have already written that I am using the data file data in which these two variables are there. If I have not given the data dollar salary and data dollar region, then I have to apply the data file name. And if I don't want to apply this file name, then I have to use this data dollar salary and region. Okay. So what is the p value?
0.00.
0.0018, which is greater than 0.05. So we accept the null hypothesis.
Less than 0.05.
Less than.
Pakka?
Answer no. We are
Yes.
using the level of significant 1%, so it's 0.01 less than.
Okay. 0.01 से 0.01 से कम है या ज्यादा है?
कम ही है.
Less than.
कम है ना? So at 1% level, it is a significant. So it means that with 99% confidence, we are saying that the average salary of the new account graduate across the different region of America is different. और कहाँ पे सबसे कम है? कहाँ पे सबसे कम है? तो क्या करना है हमें? ये सप्लाई कमांड करते हैं, देखते हैं क्या होता है. ठीक है, आपको मीडियन निकालना है तो मीडियन भी निकाल सकते हैं।
सर ऊपर जो हम लोगों ने किया है पी वैल्यू 0.00, इसमें क्रुस्कल वाले स्काई स्क्वायर हम लोगों ने यूज किया है सर। तो हेलो
हाँ हाँ, बोलिए बोलिए।
सर, ये क्रुस्कल वाले स्काई स्क्वायर हम लोगों ने यूज किया है उसमें।
उसमें क्या होता है कि क्रुस्कल वालिस इज ए टेस्ट स्टैटिस्टिक्स एंड इट इज एसिम्प्टोटिकली chi स्क्वायर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन। तो मोस्ट ऑफ द नॉन पैरामेट्रिक टेस्ट है उसका जो लास्ट में टेस्ट कंपैरिजन होगा ना वो chi स्क्वायर टेस्ट से आएगा, लेकिन वहां पे हम ऐसा नहीं कहेंगे कि वो chi स्क्वायर टेस्ट से किया है। द टेस्ट इज द क्रुस्कल वालिस बट एसिम्प्टोटिकली इज डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन इज a chi स्क्वायर and that is how it has taken the decision based on the chi square. Okay, is that okay? Okay. So you can see that which region has the less salary? South, and that you can reveal from the box plot. Which has the highest? So
Not
north,
North
and then followed by the
East.
west. So many things you can reveal easily from the graph, but sometimes you require the evidence whether it is statistically true or not. Okay, whether it is statistically significant or not, and therefore you require to perform the test of hypothesis. Is that okay? Any questions up to this? Anyone? If no,
Sir.
then yes.
सर इसमें डेटा हमने 4.95 4.10 ऐसा किया, उसकी जगह पर हम 49500 4100 ऐसे करेंगे तो उससे कोई फर्क पड़ेगा?
नहीं, उससे कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, क्योंकि क्रुस्कल वाले इसमें अल्टीमेटली वो क्या करता है, रैंकिंग ही करता है। आप 4.95 लिखो या 49,500 लिखो, अल्टीमेटली क्रुस्कल वाले की टेस्ट की जो फॉर्मूला है उसमें क्या होता है, रैंकिंग ही होता है, इसलिए वो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं। एंड इवन टेस्ट क्योंकि आप हर एक ऑब्जर्वेशन में से या कुछ उसका वैल्यू मल्टीप्लाई कर रहे हैं या डिवाइड कर रहे हैं तो उससे कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा। सिर्फ फर्क क्या पड़ता है क्रुस्कल वालिस नहीं, पैरामेट्रिक टेस्ट में फर्क क्या पड़ता है, उसका टेस्ट स्टैटिस्टिक्स उसी हिसाब से चेंज होता है, बट द रिजल्ट रिमेन द सेम।
ओके सर।
So already we were just behind, so I will quickly jump into the regression theory. How many of you have passed the 10th standard?
All of us, sir.
Yes, all of
Everyone.
us, sir.
Okay, so you everyone has passed the 10th standard. It means you have studied one concept, the equation of line,
Yes, sir.
and that
Yes,
is the
sir.
y is equal to mx plus c. Okay, where y is a dependent and x is independent, and m is the slope, or you can say that it is a tan theta, and c is a intercept. Okay. So, what is the difference between the mathematical model and statistical model?
Sir,
Yes, please.
in mathematics model, always it gives perfection, and statistics always give approximation.
So, mathematics is when you have the perfect information, or you can say that mathematics believes in the exactness and statistics believes in the approximation. Suppose if I will write y beta 0 as a c, okay, in this model. This is my c, and this is my m. So this is a mathematical equation. Y is equal to mx plus c. Given a
Yes, sir.
value of x, if you know the value of m and c, so given a value of x, you can exactly obtain the value of y. Is that okay? यही पढ़ा था हमने MS 10th standard में.
Yes, sir.
So if we know the value of m and c, then we can have the value of x. We can exactly obtain the value of y. But in statistical model, if we add the epsilon term, if we add in mathematical model equation of line epsilon term, then it is become the statistical model, and it is known as a simple regression model, linear regression model. तो बस उतना ही फर्क है, लेकिन उससे बहुत सारा फर्क मिलता है. हम आगे बात करते हैं. Why regression analysis? So regression analysis is a statistical technique for investigating and modeling the relationship between the variables. Whenever you wish to establish the relationship between the variables, we always use the concept of regression. For example, if we are applying the relation between the pressure and temperature, do you know that the relation between the pressure and temperature is exact? It is exact. If I increase this much temperature, the pressure will increase exactly this much.
No.
No.
It is again approximate. PV is equal to nRT. You might think. Okay. So pressure is a proportional to the temperature. Okay. So whenever we wish to establish the relation between the variables, कौन से variables? When they are related to each other. So pressure and temperatures are related to each other. So therefore we try to establish the relationship between the pressure and temperature. Where should I my temperature so that my pressure level will be this? Okay. तो अगर बॉयलर का टेम्परेचर को कंट्रोल नहीं किया तो प्रेशर क्या होगा? बढ़ जाएगा, and then there is a blast in the boiler. So that is how the one operator is hired who is looking after the boiler, and they are trying to manage the temperature of the boiler. Okay. So applications of regressions are almost in every field. For instance, in a physical and chemical sciences, economics, management, life and biological sciences, and in the social sciences. कहीं पे भी आप जाओ, you will get the relationship between the y and x, relationship between the variables. For example, for a botany, if I wish to study the growth of the plant, the growth of the plant is a function of a time. So then we apply the concept of a growth curve model, and it is the part of a regression analysis. If in a medical sciences, if I wish to measure the length of the brain or the size of the brain, then I cannot directly measure the size and length of the brain. So there are some indirect variables which can help us to predict the value of the brain size and the brain length. So that is again the regression technique will help them to indirectly measure the size of the brain. In agriculture domain, you wish to study what is the impact of the fertilizer on the productivity or the yield of a crop. So you can establish the relation between the yield of the crop and the amount of the fertilizer supplied to the crop. So many things are related with each other. For example, you wish to establish the relationship between the sales of a commodity and the expenditure on advertisement. Am I right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Suppose आपको नई कार लेनी है. If you wish to buy a new car, कैसे परचेस करेंगे? मैं वन बाय वन एक एक को पूछूंगा. दारा, आप कैसे परचेस करेंगे?
By taking loan, EMI से through contacting.
ओके, तो दैट मीन्स कि पहले तो पैसे होने चाहिए.
Yes.
ठीक है. अगर आपके पास पैसे है तो कोई भी कार ले लेंगे?
No, कोई भी नहीं. मतलब जो जिसका EMI कंफर्टेबल हो, मेंटेनेंस कम आए कार का, depend.
Okay. So that means when you buy any car, you look the feature of the car first.
Yes.
पहला है कि उसकी प्राइस क्या है. What is the price cost of the car? ठीक है, जैसे हम टीचर है तो पहले कॉस्ट ऑफ द कार देखते हैं, बाद में बाकी सब कुछ देखते हैं. ठीक है. When I bought my car, I did lots of study. Hitesh no. Okay. What about Vaishnavi? What will you see next?
फर्स्ट फाइन एक्सपेंस कितना होगा.
Expense. That means कि how much amount of the money is associated for the maintenance. So that means first is the car price, second one is the maintenance. Barkha?
Sir, first I'll check which car is affordable in my budget. And
तो
which
बजट
is
तो आ गया. That means कि प्राइस के साथ आप इकोनॉमी देख रहे हैं. Let us say economy and price are related.
yes,
बताइए
sir.
नील.
सर लो मेंटेनेंस.
मेंटेनेंस आ गया, प्राइस आ गया, और कुछ देखेंगे आप?
माइलेज देखेंगे हम. माइलेज.
Pardon?
Comfortness.
माइलेज.
नहीं, अभी मैं नील को ही पूछ रहा हूँ. हाँ बताइए नील.
हाँ सर.
बोलिए.
सर माइलेज. देन
Mileage. तो पहला है.
सर्विस कितना अच्छा मिलता है.
नहीं, एक की जवाब दीजिए, सबको मौका मिलेगा. 50 लोग हैं तो 50 फीचर मिलेंगे. So one is the car price, second one is the maintenance, third one is the mileage. देवनाथ.
माइलेज बोल दिया था, और फ्यूल एफिशिएंसी, फ्यूल का देखेंगे कितना.
फ्यूल तो माइलेज आ गया, तो उसमें आप देखेंगे कि सीएनजी है, पेट्रोल में है, डीजल में है. फिर आशीष.
सर एक्स्ट्रा एसेसरी और कितनी आती है.
ओके, एक्स्ट्रा एसेसरी कितनी आती है फ्री में, मतलब द स्कीम. विवेक. विवेक.
जी सर, मार्केट में नया कौन सा कार लॉन्च हुआ है वो देखेंगे पहले.
तो नया कार कौन सा, जैसे किया आया तो मारुति लोगों ने लेना बंद किया. ठीक है, तो दैट मीन्स द ब्रांड नेम. ठीक है. कंफर्ट आया, प्राइस आया, माइलेज आया, मेंटेनेंस आया, देन द ब्रांड नेम, टाइप्स ऑफ द फ्यूल. रवि कुमार.
यस सर. सर कंफर्टनेस, प्राइस, फीचर्स सभी वही सब.
ठीक है. ओके, फिर आप हितेश कुमार आप क्या कहेंगे?
सर यूसेज ऑलरेडी
Usage.
ओन बाय, हाँ ऑलरेडी ओन बाय अदर्स. डिमांड
मतलब okay, that means what is the popularity, market share of
Popularity,
the
exactly.
What is the market
Yes.
share?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Then
review of
review. Okay, so there are many features are there while purchasing the car. So sales of a car is a function of these all many features. Now which one is very important? Which one is very important? So
Money.
Edward, how do you know whether this car is available in the market or not?
सर सर्वे बेसिक्स, मतलब हम
सर्वे, मतलब आप सर्वे करने जाएंगे?
नहीं सर, मतलब क्या अवेलेबिलिटी है, मतलब शोरूम में से रिक्वेस्ट करके चेक करवा सकते हैं कौन कौन सी कार अवेलेबल है हमारे बजट के साथ सूटेबल.
तो पहले तो हमें पता चलता है एडवर्टाइजमेंट से कि मार्केट में गाड़ी नहीं आई. कहाँ से पता चलेगा? बेस्ड ऑन द एडवर्टाइजमेंट. तो कंपनी इज इन्वेस्टिंग लॉट्स ऑफ मनी फॉर द एडवर्टाइजमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर. तो सेल्स, फिर कार आप देखेंगे कि जो प्रोफेशनल है, जैसे कि डॉक्टर्स है, बिल्डर्स है, हर 6 महीने में गाड़ी बदल देते हैं, लेकिन टीचर्स कभी नहीं बदल सकते. दो वी आर पेइंग द प्रोफेशनल टैक्स, बट वी आर नॉट प्रोफेशनल. हमें इनकम टैक्स में उसका कोई रिबेट नहीं मिलता है. बट द बिल्डर्स, उनको मिलता है डिप्रिशिएशन ऑफ द कार. So every 6 months they are selling. So that means the resale value of the car is also very important. When you buy any product, you always see that what is the resale value. So it means that the sales of a car is a function of the several variables. Now we wish to identify which variable is really important to improve the my sales of a car. So let me study the relation between the sales of a car and the advertisement expenditure. So do you say that if I will give the more advertisement, I have a more sales in the car?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
मैं ज्यादा एडवर्टाइजमेंट दूंगा तो मेरी कार ज्यादा बिकेंगी, ऐसा है?
No, 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 not always, sir.
No, sir.
Not
No.
necessary.
No, sir.
First time
Ranbir Kapoor came along with the one advertisement of Micra, Nissan Micra car with the Raj Kapoor style. Lekin still, it has, though the everything was good, still it could not capture the market. Okay, so the advertisement is not only responsible for sales of the car. There are so many variables which are responsible for the sales of car, but we are not able to study their impact in our model. So we will keep them as a epsilon.
Target audience, sir.
So epsilon is to be a error. Epsilon is said to be error. Why it is error? Error is nothing but it is a cumulative effect of the all other variables which are affecting your response Y. हमारे केस में response क्या है? It is a sales of car, but we could not consider in our study. Then their entire effect we write them as epsilon, and we try to minimize the effect of epsilon so that we can have a best impact of X on Y. That means X is in our case advertisement expenditure. So we try to study what is the best impact of advertisement expenditure of Y. So that can be studied based on the relation between the Y and X. But there are several variables which are affecting the sales of car. We could not consider in our model, so we will write them as a epsilon. So in a regression analysis, there are two parts. One is a systematic part and another is a random part. If I know the value of beta 0 and beta 1, given a value of X, I can obtain the value of Y. But I can obtain the value of Y, approximate value of Y, because epsilon is there. So we cannot obtain the exact value, we can obtain the approximate value. Is that clear? So in that way, you can make so many examples. Day to day life में हमारे सामने बहुत सारे ऐसे examples है. For example, I would like to tell you how the regression is important in the merit system. We have seen the type 1 and type 2 errors in the merit system, testing of hypothesis in the Indian merit system. Similarly, how the regression analysis is important. Let me give you the example. When the final marriage is decided, still the parents of the girls and the boy will have one more inquiry. कैसे इंक्वायरी करते हैं कि उनके बगल में, मतलब कि उनके अड़ोस पड़ोस में या वो जहां पड़े हैं, उनके आप क्या कर रहे हैं, इंफॉर्मेशन निकालवा रहे हैं. कहां से? आपके दोस्त का दोस्त कहीं उनके में जान पहचान में है, तो आप उसको पूछेंगे कि वो कैसा है या कैसे है. ठीक है, तो बेस्ड ऑन दैट you are trying to collect indirect information of that gentleman or gentle lady, whether they are the good for the marriage partner or not. Okay, so this is the concept of the regression theory. We could not measure the Y directly, so we try to measure the Y based on the X. Sales of the car तो आपको बाद में पता चलेगा, but can advertisement expenditure will tell you that if I will have the investment of advertisement, this much amount of the money, I will have the benefit in terms of the sales. And that is how when the budget allocation is going on, they have a specific budget of the advertisement. तो ये सारा प्लानिंग एडवांस होता है बिफोर एग्जीक्यूशन, और वो एग्जीक्यूशन में कैसे कितना अलॉटमेंट करना है, तो रिग्रेशन थियरी विल हेल्प यू टेक द डिसीजन. So similarly, as I told you, regression in the marriage, indirectly we try to get the information कि भाई बंदा कैसा है या लेडी कैसी है, whether they are suitable for the being a future partner or not. So that the indirectly you try to measure them. So this is the concept of a regression theory. Well, but whenever you are interested to establish the relationship between the several variables, we apply the concept of the regression. But in that case, we should always make sure the relation between Y and X is a linear in nature, linear in terms of parameters. And second one, there should be a logical relationship between y and x. Before applying the regression theory, we should always look the correlation between the two variables. For example, sales of the car and advertisement expenditure. Is there any correlation between them? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, of course, there is a correlation between them. Okay. So whether the correlation is logical, क्योंकि हमने आगे बात बताया कि the correlation की range रहती है -1 to 1. If it is a -1, there is a perfect negative linear association between x and y. If the correlation value is +1, then we say that there is a perfect linear positive association between x and y. If it is 0, then we say that there is no association between x and y. Okay. But suppose I am saying that the correlation between x and y is a 0.9. Correlation between x and y is a 0.9. So what is your interpretation?
Positive correlation.
There is a positive correlation between x and y.
Non-linear.
Linear ही आएगा, non-linear तो नहीं कह सकते हैं, क्योंकि that we have to verify. Because 0.9 है, it means there is a positive linear correlation between x and y. पक्का? When suppose if it is a -0.9, then
So negative linear correlation between x and y.
Negative linear correlation between x and y. Okay. If I am saying that y is the red blood cell in the blood and x is the number of liter water taken by the individual, r is equal to 0.9. तो देवनाथ, हम ऐसा कहेंगे पानी ज्यादा पिएंगे तो रेड ब्लड सेल बढ़ते ही जाएंगे?
नहीं सर.
तो आपने बताया ना r equal to 0.9 है, तो there is a positive association between x and y.
I thought because it is the range from -1 to +1.
So absolutely, if you look at in the mathematical point of view, when the number is given r is equal to 0.9, your decision is absolutely right. It is a positive association between x and y. But before applying the correlation, we should always see that is there any logical relationship exists between them or not. Because sometimes what happens, the data is given to you, and somebody is analyzing the data. They do the chi-square regression and everything, and then you realize that there is no meaning of that. Why? Because logically there is no relation, but your data support. Okay, so it is called the nonsense or the spurious correlation. You have to always look is there any positive association between the two variables which are logical, positive or negative. So is there any logical relationship between two variables or not? If logical, then you try to see that whether it's mathematical or statistical relationship presents among them or not, and what should be the impact of that association, strength of that association, so that we can calculate mathematically based on the correlation coefficient. Once the correlation is established, that our next task is that we should go with the linear regression. Now the relation between y and x is a linear or not. How will you identify? It is based on the plot. If you make the scatter plot, if you remember, we have made the scatter plot using the plot command, and by using the scatter plot or by studying the scatter plot, you can easily identify is there any association between x and y is positive or not. Is there any x and y association between x and y is negatively linearly associated or not. So based on the scatter plot, it will suggest you whether the relation between y-x is a linear or non-linear. So first step is that you have to see that logical relationship exists between the variables. If yes, then you always look for the correlation is present in the data. Yes, then third step is you always draw the scatter plot to see that whether the relation is a linear or non-linear. Okay, there are so many other assumptions in the regression analysis. In linear regression, there are two parts. One is a simple linear regression and then a multiple linear regression. Simple means if you have only one independent variable. But when you say multiple, it means you have more than one independent variables. Here I have written x. So in a multiple, you can have a x1, x2, x3 up to xp. So dependent variable is a one, but independent variables are more than one, and the relation between y and x is a linear in parameter. Then the model is said to be a multiple linear regression. Here I am saying that the relation between y and x is a linear or non-linear. On what ground I am telling? I am telling based on this parameter. What is the power of beta 0? बीटा 0 का पावर क्या है यहाँ पे? 1. बीटा 1 का 1 का मतलब वो पावर क्या है? It is a linear. When the power is 1, we say it is a linear. So that means the relation between y and x is linear in parameters, because the power of the parameter is a 1. Here beta 0 and beta 1 is unknown to us. हम नहीं जानते हैं ना बीटा 0 बीटा 1 को, and that is what we say that they are the parameters. और पैरामीटर से तो हम क्या करेंगे? उसको एस्टिमेट करते हैं. एंड हाउ टू एस्टिमेट? बाय सम मेथड. जैसे हमने वन सैंपल टी टेस्ट में मीन को एस्टिमेट किया सैंपल मीन से, वेरिएंस को एस्टिमेट किया सैंपल वेरिएंस से. ओके, तो सिमिलरली यहाँ पे बीटा 0 एंड बीटा 1 को भी हम एस्टिमेट करेंगे. एंड द मेथड विच वी यूज इज कॉल्ड द थियरी ऑफ लीस्ट स्क्वायर मेथड. ओके, so there are two types of the models: simple linear regression models and multiple linear regression models. As I told you, in notation आप y को dependent कहते हैं. अगर एक से ज्यादा वेरिएबल है तो आप उसको xij कहते हैं. It is nothing but ith observation on the jth independent. Independent variable is also known as a regressors. इसको रिग्रेशर कहते हैं, तो y को रिग्रेसांड कहेंगे. यहाँ पे लिखा है, ठीक है. बीटा 0 इज नोन एज इंटरसेप्ट पैरामीटर्स. अगर एक ही आपके पास स्लोप कोएफिशिएंट है, देन इट इज सेड टू बी ए रिग्रेशन कोएफिशिएंट. बट अगर एक से ज्यादा आपके पास रिग्रेशन कोएफिशिएंट है, जैसे मल्टीपल लीनियर रिग्रेशन में बीटा 1 x1 प्लस बीटा 2 x2 प्लस बीटा k xk, तो इट मींस बीटा 1 बीटा 2 बीटा k आर सेड टू बी ए पार्शियल रिग्रेशन कोएफिशिएंट. So it is said to be partial slope coefficient. And epsilon is nothing but the errors and is random. R square, adjusted R square के बारे में मैं आपको बाद में बताता हूँ when we come to that. So I told you that in this part is said to be a systematic part and this part is said to be a random part. ठीक है? So what are the assumptions? Assumption in the regression is that errors are random and they are independently and identically normally distributed with mean 0 and constant variance sigma square. इसका मतलब कि जो errors है आपके डेटा में, ठीक है, और whatever the data you have taken, उसमें जो आपको errors मिल रही है, तो they are random. मतलब कि it should not be a systematic error. जैसे इंस्ट्रूमेंट में repeatedly आपको error बढ़ती जाती, it is not like that. It is purely a random errors. And it has the normal distribution with mean is 0 and variance is sigma square. So this assumption we will verify later on. And this constant variance assumption is also known as a homoscedastic assumption, and independent assumption is known as a uncorrelated. It means the errors are uncorrelated with mean 0 and constant variance sigma square. I told you that correlation between y and x should be very high. तो जब आप लीनियर रिग्रेशन कर रहे हैं तो रिलेशन शुड बी y and x should be high. Further it is saying that the x and epsilon are orthogonal, मतलब they are independent. उनके बीच में कोई correlation होना नहीं चाहिए. So I told you that before applying regression analysis, you have to see whether the logical relationship between the two variables are true or not. If yes, then we can proceed. Now, assumption of the correlation can be studied based on scatter plot, and you can also do the correlation analysis. It will give you idea whether which kind of association between x and y. Assumption of independence is checked by the run test. We have already used it. Normality can be assessed based on the either Shapiro-Wilks normality or the Kolmogorov-Mindro test. And constant variance assumption can be studied based on the residual versus fitted plot. तो जब आपके पास मॉडल फाइनल एस्टिमेट हो जाता है, and then you just obtain the residuals by using that model. You have to just plot the residual versus predicted, and it will give you the idea. We'll come to that part, don't worry. And tomorrow I'm going to take the logistic regression, so I will again continue with the simple, multiple, and then we'll take the logistics, so no issue with that. So how to obtain the estimate of the parameters? So as I told you that you have to obtain the estimate of parameters beta 0 and beta 1 by applying the ordinary least square method. Okay, then whether the model, once the model is fitted, your next task is that whether model is good or not. So goodness of fit criterions are the R square and adjusted R square. R square is nothing but proportion of the total variance of y explained by the regression x. Adjusted R square is also amount of the variation of y explained by the x, but by adjusting the penalty of extra variables. So suppose R square की value, R square is said to be a coefficient of determination, square of multiple correlation coefficient, or you can say that the percentage of the total variance of y explained by the x. Suppose R square value is a 0.7. It means 70% of total variance of y explained by the x. मतलब 70% of the sales of the car is explained by the advertisement expenditure. Are you getting my point? कि x कितना contribute करता है y को जानने में? 70%. If R square is equal to 0.9, it means 90% of information of the sales is explained by the advertisement expenditure. So that means you can have the idea ki how this variable is important. But what is the problem with the R square? If you add one more variable, advertisement expenditure के साथ आप variable add करेंगे, let us say mileage of the car. Okay, so what happen? If you increase the another variable, R square is always increase. पहले में suppose 70% था, तो अभी कुछ add हो गए 75 या 80% हुआ. But what about the adjusted R square? Whether the adjusted R square is also increasing? Not necessary. R square is always increasing with increasing in the number of variables. But that is not true in the adjusted R squares. Adjusted R square is increased if and only if the added variable is important for the model development. अब यहाँ पे हम क्यों मॉडल बना रहे हैं? Why we are making the models? Let us say ये मॉडल बना हमें, तो उससे क्या पता चलेगा कि भाई 90% इंफॉर्मेशन आपको एडवर्टाइजमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर और माइलेज ऑफ कार से ही पता चल रही है. इसका मतलब दिस फीचर्स आर इम्पोर्टेंट फॉर द सेल्स ऑफ ए कार, कि लोग माइलेज को भी ध्यान में लेके गाड़ी परचेस कर रहे हैं. जैसे इफ आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट माई सेल्फ, व्हेन आई बोट द कार, I see that whether it has the mileage or not, whether it satisfies my basic criteria or not, whether it is the easy to maintenance or not, whether it has the price is negotiable price or not, or it is a economical price or not, whether if we are 5 members are sitting in the car, whether we are comfortably sit or not, whether the luxury is present in the car or not. So there are so many features I have seen, and then finally I bought the car. Okay, so when the customers are going to purchase the car, they see the variety of features. Now which features are very important, and you have to identify that features, and that features will be given to the R&D department, and R&D department will design the product accordingly so that it should capture the market. So similarly in your field, you can have the lots of the relationship established between the variables, and based on that you can decide which variable should be given the higher priority. That means first focus should be given on that. So that can be identified based on the regression analysis. तो प्रायोरिटीज आप डिसाइड कर सकते हैं कि सेवरल वेरिएबल्स है, इसमें से मुझे पहले 10 प्रायोरिटी किसके ऊपर रखनी है, तो दिस, so that can be identified through. Okay, So that is how we, while comparing the several models, we use both R square, adjusted R square. Adjusted R square is increased if and only if the added variable is important. Otherwise, it is decreased. So it is saying that if both R square and adjusted R square are increasing, then we say that the model is good. Otherwise, model is not good. So once I told you that in this model, the estimation part is done. It means that we have know the value of beta 0 and beta 1. Now we have to test whether this beta 0 and beta 1 are statistically significantly differ from 0 or not. If I am suppose I am putting beta 1 equal to 0 and beta 0 equal to 0, what happened to y? If I will substitute the beta 0 equal to 0 and beta 1 equal to 0, what will happen to y?
Y will
Y equal to epsilon.
Y will be epsilon.
ओके इसका मतलब x चाहे आप कुछ भी लो, y के ऊपर उसकी कोई इम्पैक्ट नहीं है. ऐसा ही हुआ ना. आप एडवर्टाइजमेंट में चाहे कितना भी पैसा लगा लो, सेल्स में उसकी कोई इम्पैक्ट नहीं हो रही है. So that is how we always start with the model. There is no impact of the regressors on the y. There is no impact of the sales of advertisement expenditure on the sales of a car. There is no impact of the mileage on the sales of a car. तो हम वहां से शुरू करते हैं. It means that all the parameters are 0. तो हम null hypothesis में रखते हैं beta 0, beta 1 equal to 0 versus at least 1 is not 0. Okay. And if I wish to perform this hypothesis, which test is applied? F test. जो आपने ANOVA किया ना, तो यहाँ पे हम वापिस ANOVA करेंगे. तो analysis of variance. That analysis of variance F test will help you to take the decision. But here ANOVA is that it is a testing of simultaneous testing of the parameters in the regression theory, and it will give the F test. And if you reject the null hypothesis, it means that at least one of them is significantly differ from 0. That is either beta 0 is not 0 or beta 1 is not 0. दोनों साथ में तो 0 नहीं है, वो तो पक्का हो गया यहाँ से रिजेक्ट होने से. So now we wish to see that which one is 0, whether beta 0 is 0 or beta 1 is 0. So for that we will go for the individual testing of the regression coefficient. Beta j equal to 0, j equal to 0 and 1. If I am take that beta j equal to 0, it means that intercept is 0. If I am take j equal to 1, it means regression coefficient is 0. Suppose if you reject the null hypothesis that intercept is significantly differ from 0, that means your model is without intercept. Means beta 0 वहाँ पे model में रहेगा. If you reject the null hypothesis that beta 1 equal to 0, it means model में beta 1 रहेगा. Beta 1 रहेगा इसका मतलब उसके साथ कौन है? X है. That means X is important for the model development. So when you reject the null hypothesis that beta 1 is significantly different from 0, it means that the X is important to know the value of Y. Is that okay? And then once the model, you have obtained the estimate of the parameters beta 0 and beta 1. So we estimate को हमेशा हम क्या करते हैं? कैप लगाते हैं. Y को भी हमने क्या किया? एस्टिमेट किया. किसके ऊपर से? X के ऊपर. बीटा 0 को एस्टिमेट किया बाय बीटा 0 कैप. बीटा 1 को बीटा 1 कैप से. तो बीटा 0 कैप and बीटा 1 कैप are known as the least square estimator of beta 0 and beta 1. Now given a value of X, we can obtain the predicted value of Y. क्योंकि रिग्रेशन का मेन कॉन्सेप्ट क्या है? प्रिडिक्शन. We wish to establish the relationship between the Y and X. Given a value of X, Y, given a value of X, are we in that position to predict the value of Y? So that is the main purpose of the regression analysis, to predict the event based on the given information. For example, experimental science में X is under your control. आप टेम्परेचर को चेंज करते जाओ, what happened to the pressure? So you can obtain the predicted value of pressure. And that is how you try to establish the relation between the pressure and temperature. Okay. So once we have the Y cap, Y is already with you. Y आपके पास है. Y and X आप दोनों मेजर करते हैं. ठीक है. तो E is nothing but y minus y cap, which is known as a residuals. तो मैंने आपको एक नॉर्मल प्रोबेबिलिटी प्लॉट बताया था, प्लॉट में बताया था ना, QQ norm कमांड यूज किया था, if all the point is covered by the line, then we say that data fits the normal distribution. So we will obtain the residual plots of normal probability plot of residuals. We also, to verify whether the variants are homogeneous or not, so we will make the residual versus predicted value plot. And if you does not find any pattern, we say that data is, or the errors are homoscedastic. And to verify is there any outlier present in your data or not, we can make a plot of Cook's versus leverage plot. Cook's is a measure of a distance which is helpful to identify the outliers or influential point, and leverage point is another point. So we will make a plot of this, and based on that we can take the decision. Once the model is passed through all the criteria, then we can use this model for the prediction. Okay, so what we have seen, quick summary कर लेते हैं 5 मिनट में. What is the application of regression? ये ध्यान से सुनिएगा, 5 मिनट में आपका regression clear हो जाएगा. ठीक है. What is the application of regression? We wish to establish the relationship between the variables. We will apply the regression theory, and ultimate aim of the regression theory is to predict the response. So prediction is the ultimate aim of a regression. So when we apply the regression theory, if we have a two variables, let us say one variable is a y, another variable is a x. So y is a dependent variable, x is a independent variable. Then the relation between y and x is a linear, then we call them as a simple linear regression. If we have a more than one regressors, x को हमने क्या कहा था, regressors. If we have a more than one regressors are there in the model, then we call them as a multiple linear regression. Why linear? Because the relation between y and x is a linear in parameter. Okay. How the statistical model is different than the mathematical model? In mathematical model, in 10th standard, we have seen the equation y is equal to mx plus c. Here with some notation, I can write y is equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 x. Again, it is a mathematical notation. But if I add the epsilon term in that model, then it becomes the statistical model. Because mathematics believes in the exactness. Given a value of beta 0 and beta 1, given a value of x, you can obtain exactly value of y. But that is not the case in the statistics. So beta 0 and beta 1 are unknown in a statistics, and therefore we try to estimate them. तो जिसको estimate करना है उसको हम क्या कहते हैं, unknown है उसको हम कहते हैं parameters. तो parameters are nothing but the unknown constant. Okay, so given a value of y, beta 0, estimate of beta 0 cap and beta 1 cap, given a value of x, we can obtain the approximate value of y, जिसको हम कहते हैं estimated value of y, जिसको हम कहते हैं predicted value of y. Okay, now before going to regression theory, what are the basic steps you have to follow? First, you have to see that is there any logical relationship between y and x exist or not. If yes, then the second step is draw the scatter plot, see the relationship between y and x is a linear or not. Third, you obtain the correlation coefficient, and based on the correlation coefficient, you can take the decision whether the correlation is a positive or negative, because the correlation is always lies between -1 and 1. Once this things is done, your next task is you have to see the basic assumption of the regression theory. What is the assumption? The errors are random, errors are normally distributed, and errors having a constant variance. So randomness assumption can be assessed based on a run test. यहाँ पे हमने कहा है errors random है. Actually error का estimate क्या है? Residuals है. तो हमें एक्चुअली रेसिड्यूल्स के ऊपर चेक करना है कि रैंडम है, नॉर्मल है, लेकिन वो तो हमारे पास है नहीं अभी, इसलिए फिलहाल हम किसके ऊपर बात करते हैं, वाई के ऊपर, बिकॉज वाई इज ए लीनियर फंक्शन ऑफ एप्सिलॉन. तो इफ वाई इज ए रैंडम, so that can be assessed based on the runs test. Second one, we will see that y is a normal, so that can be assessed based on the Shapiro-Wills normality test. Third is a constant variance assumption. So that we will see at the later. Once we have the residuals in our hand, we will make a plot of residual versus predicted. And if there is no pattern, we take the decision that the variance of residual is a constant. Once this basic assumption hold true, now we can apply the regression theory. So data is given, y and x is information is given to us. We will apply the theory of least square estimation methods and obtain the estimate of the parameter. And then we have a fitted model. What is the fitted model? It is a y cap equal to beta 0 cap plus beta 1 cap x, if it is a simple linear regression. If it is a multiple linear regression, then y cap is equal to beta 0 cap plus beta 1 cap x1 plus beta 2 cap x2 plus up to beta k cap xk plus, not plus, up to that. Okay, but once the model is estimated, whether this estimated model is a really good fit for the prediction purpose or not. So to assess the goodness of fit criterion, कहते हैं ना कि सिलेक्शन करने के बाद हम क्या करते हैं, उसको असेसमेंट करते हैं. आपने डिसाइड कर लिया शादी करना है, उसके बाद भी आप उसका असेसमेंट करते हैं ना. असेसमेंट होने के बाद जब आपको पक्का पता चलता है कि नो, नाउ वी आर कंफर्टेबल, वी कैन प्रोसीड फॉर द मैरिज. तो सिमिलरली जब भी मॉडल डेवलपमेंट होता है, वी ऑलवेज ट्राई टू सी वेदर द मॉडल इज रियली गुड और नॉट. So goodness of fit criterions are that R square and adjusted R square. There are many more. I will come to that part also. So R square is nothing but it is a proportion of the total variance explained by the regressors, or you can say the percentage of the total variance is explained by the regressors. If you take R square is equal to 0.9, it means 90% of total variance of Y is explained by the X. Adjusted R square is also a goodness of fit criterion, but it also works like as a R square, but it has been assigned a certain penalty of addition of a variable. R square is always increasing with increasing in the number of variables. जैसे मैंने आपको बताया कि एडवर्टाइजमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर में आप माइलेज ऐड करेंगे तो R square is always increasing, but whether adjusted R square is also increasing. If both R square and adjusted R square are increasing, then we say that added variables are important. Otherwise, we say that added variable is not important. Higher the R square, higher the adjusted R square, better the model. This is where we take the decision. और आपने रिसर्च पेपर्स आप पढ़ रहे होगे तो आपने देखा होगा रिग्रेशन में R square 0.95 है, 9 है, 0.9 है, likewise. And then you say that the model is good. R square and adjusted R square just giving the idea about whether the model is good or not. But when you decide the final models, you have to again test them. So to test them, we have to apply the testing of hypothesis. And for a testing of hypothesis, we will have a two tests. One is F test and another is a T test. F test is a testing of all the parameters simultaneously 0 or not. तो हमने बताया कि beta 0 and beta 1 दोनों simultaneously 0 है. Which test is applicable? F test. Rejecting the F naught in F test, it means that both the variables are not simultaneously 0. Okay. So now both the parameters are not simultaneously 0. So now we wish to see that whether they are individually 0 or not. Okay. So individually we will apply the T test. And rejecting the null hypothesis individually, we will add that parameters in the model, except means they will not added in the model. So suppose both the beta 0 and beta 1s are rejected, then our model is y cap equal to beta 0 cap plus beta 1 cap x. If beta 0 null hypothesis is accepted and beta 1 null hypothesis is rejected, then y cap equal to beta 1 cap x. Okay. Suppose if your null hypothesis is rejected in beta 1, then accepted in the beta 1 and rejected in beta 0, then your final model is y cap equal to beta 0 cap. Okay. So once you have the predicted or estimated value in your hand, you will calculate the residuals. That is, residual is equal to y minus y cap. Once the residual in your hand, you can obtain the normal probability plot. If all the residuals point is covered by the line, then we say that data is normally distributed. We can apply the theory of run test on the residuals, and simultaneously last we can make the plot of residual versus predicted. If the plot of residual versus predicted is in a plot, if there is no pattern available, it means we say that the variance is a constant. So if you do that, you can have the final models. And if you analyze this way and report your result in your research paper, nobody can give you a statistical query in your paper. I will show you. There are only hardly 8 to 10 lines you have to write to analyze this. So that we will see in the next lecture. Tomorrow at 11 o'clock we will meet in the logistic regression, but I will start with the simple linear regression because the procedure remains the same. Only the concept is changing. Okay? So any question, anyone? No?
हेलो
Yes.
सर, अगर हम लोग देखना चाहे कि ऑनलाइन जो एजुकेशन हो रहा है वो कितना इम्पैक्टफुल है या नहीं, तो हम लोग अगर सर्वे करेंगे उसमें लाइक 15 और 20 क्वेश्चन देके, तो हम लोग आइडेंटिफाई कैसे करेंगे कि कौन सा डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल्स है और कौन सा इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल्स है?
अभी आप इफेक्टिवनेस की बात कर रहे हैं ना?
हाँ सर.
तो इफेक्टिवनेस इज योर स्टडी वेरिएबल, दैट इज योर डिपेंडेंट. एंड जैसे कि ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन में है, तो ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन में आप क्या क्या ऐड कर रहे हैं? तो एज आप ले रहे हैं.
हाँ, एज, जेंडर,
एज है, डिग्री है, जेंडर्स है, तो दीज ऑल आर द इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल्स. और उसमें भी आप दो लेवल पे जा सकते हैं कि ऑनलाइन मोड एजुकेशन में जो बच्चे हैं उनका लो और ऑफलाइन में है उनका लो, तो देन यू कैन हैव अ पॉसिबल कंपैरिजन.
सर, और जो सर्टेन क्वेश्चन अभी जो हम लोग दे रहे हैं, ये सब डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल्स.
हाँ, मतलब आप इफेक्टिवनेस स्टडी करने के लिए जो भी वेरिएबल्स आप ले रहे हैं, दे ऑल आर डिपेंडेंट. लेकिन इफेक्टिवनेस को आप फाइनली क्या कर रहे हैं कि क्वेश्चंस आप बहुत सारे पूछ रहे हैं, बट यू ट्राई टू कन्वर्ट इनटू द वन वेरिएबल ऑफ इफेक्टिवनेस. आइदर यू कैन मेक ए टोटल, आइदर यू कैन स्टैंडर्डाइज देम, समथिंग लाइक दैट. So you have to create a one variable effectiveness.
So questions
and that
are
should be
dependent
measured based
variables.
on.
So questions are dependent variables and the demographic data all are independent variables.
Yes, exactly. Anyone? But again, इसमें regression use होगा, वो आपको देखना पड़ेगा. Regression can be used if both y and x are continuous in nature. वो मैं बताना भूल गया. अगर y आपका continuous है, x आपका categorical है, तो you have to use the analysis of variance. If y आपका continuous है, x आपका continuous है, तो you can apply the regression theory. y आपका categorical है and x आपका continuous है या mix है, then we can apply the logistic regression. तो कल मैं आपको उसका पूरा टेबल बताऊंगा कि what is the nature of y and what is the nature of x, then which technique should be suitable.
Okay.
तो सबसे important वही है to identification of a suitable technique. Then the things are very simple. Anyone else? Anand? Any question, Anand?
Yes, sir. No, sir. પહેલા મતલા પછી તમને કહો.
Okay. Anyone, any questions? No, so thank you very much. Tomorrow we will meet again at 11 o'clock. And I will share this material. And probably I will also share the materials of a logistic regression so that it will reach to you. Thank you very much. Thank you one and all.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.